as we kind of move forward here into our preview of what we could see on Thursday night against the San Antonio Spurs. What do you think the Suns can do differently in this game to get the victory?
Yeah, well, first you got to start off with the big news that Devin Booker's now upgraded to questionable for tomorrow. So I think that would definitely help if if Booker's back. So we'll see. The Suns are being very tight-lipped, as we know they usually are about their injuries. So Devin Booker at the World Series right now, though, and we've seen him working out without an ankle brace on, so that's an encouraging sign, just seeing the way he's moving around at practice. You can go check out some of our footage from practice. I post all of it the past couple days from shoot-around yesterday and then Monday's practice as well. So you could see Devin Booker and Bradley Beal rehabbing their injuries. Yesterday, Coach Vogel talked about there's no real timetable for their returns, which was kind of concerning for Suns fans. But at the same time, Suns are always very questionable about their injury. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But hopefully Booker's back tomorrow. So that would obviously be a huge boost to the Suns. But yeah, I mean, I think the most interesting thing outside of those two, if they're back, is can the Suns come out strong again like they did last night and then sustain it, or will the Spurs going to keep up their momentum from the end of the game? So you want to see the Suns just come out and dominate again, but at the same time, the Spurs can turn it around, and they could just start out hot tomorrow. So I think those are two big things to watch tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. You want to see if that momentum carries over for the Spurs. If you're a Spurs fan, you want to see that. But for the Suns, I think the big thing they can do differently in the fourth quarter is use Kevin Durant more as an outlet or decoy. So one of the things that I've seen is that Eric Gordon and Grayson Allen can run the pick and roll. So let's say if it's Drew Eubanks or Yusuf Nurkic at center, and they're running pick and roll, high pick and roll with Gordon or Allen, and you have Kevin Durant in the corner. If you have Kevin Durant in the corner, whoever's defending Kevin Durant has to stay over there. And it opens up the court so much for whatever action you're trying to do. There was a play earlier in the game where Nasir Little hit a three. And it was actually a Kogi who set a pick for Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon got going downhill. The defender left Little in that corner. Gordon passes to Little, hits a three. Now, no disrespect to Little, but if it's Kevin Durant out there, they're not leaving Kevin Durant. So if you have Kevin Durant in those type of plays, and now the defense can't just all hunker down on Kevin Durant. Now, of course, this changes if Devin Booker is playing, but just going and assuming he doesn't play in this one, you have to be able to switch up who is the playmaker and who is the one initiating the action for the team in the fourth quarter so that you're not outscored 33-19 in the fourth quarter the way they were last night. So you definitely want to have changes there. Defensively, I think when it comes to somebody getting hot like a Vassell or Keldon Johnson, maybe more switching. And you can switch more if you have Drew Eubanks out there. If you have Yusuf Nurkic out there, you have to play drop defense, which means that the center drops on pick and roll, and you're asking the person who's guarding the initial ball handler to get back around the pick to get in front. So if you have Eubanks out there, you're switching on the pick and roll. That means less open threes, but Eubanks has to be able to stay in front of these guys and not get broken down to where they get layups. So I think there's some little adjustments that can be made, but honestly, if they did what they did in the first three quarters, they'll win the game, but they have to be able to hold down that lead, unlike they did against the Lakers and Spurs last night.
Yeah, they just have to show multiple looks on offense, like you said. I know there's been some question marks of KD, why the Suns last year, they just stuck him in the corner. Fans were not happy with that. So you saw, especially in that Utah game, just to start out the game, I think KD had like 2 straight assists to start out. So when KD gets rolling in other facets of the game, that's when the game really opens up for the Suns. And you saw Eric Gordon last night, 6 assists. Grayson Allen, too, has proven that both of them, that they can be playmakers and handle the ball, which was question marks, and even I had questions for that going in. But I think as the season's gone on, even though they're 4 games in, they've had to take on these larger roles without Devin Booker, without Bradley Beal. So you're seeing them really evolve their offense. So, yeah, when it comes to that fourth quarter, they've really not been there. So how do you get them more involved? Like you said, if they are more of the primary ball handlers on some possessions, not every possession. I think they need to mix up looks there because obviously you want the ball and somehow in KD's hands. So
For sure.
you have to mix it up there. And I think, they're being very one-dimensional on offense when it seemed like the Spurs, they have a good coach in Greg Popovich. So they figured out what the Suns are doing on offense with KD and adjusted to it. And what worked against the Jazz, what worked against the Spurs in the first half just didn't work in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, you know in the fourth quarter that teams are going to hunker down more defensively, especially if they're down, and they're going to go down to what is their go-to plan defensively. And that's what you saw in both the Spurs and Lakers games, where they were able to hunker down and really load up on Kevin Durant. So that's why I think they should throw in those different looks where Eric Gordon and Grayson Allen can initiate the offense. And I think that could lead to a victory for them. And honestly, they should be able to beat the Spurs by more than 15 points coming into this game after making the adjustments from last night's game. Do you think I'm being a little bit too presumptuous in saying that they can win by 15 points?
I mean, I thought that was exactly going to be the case last night, which it didn't end up happening. So, yeah, I mean, I expect it again just because of the talent level. I mean, me and you talked about this during the game. Keita Bates-Diop. I mean, maybe we could have another discussion about why he should be in the game because he's playing his old team. But on the Spurs, he's a starter. On the Suns, he's not even a rotation player without Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. I mean, there might be some argument why he should be in the rotation, but when you have that level of talent discrepancy between the two teams, that's something to note even without Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, just because the Suns are such a veteran team. You know the Spurs have more continuity. Most of their guys have been together longer, and they just added Victor Wembanyama into the mix. So, I mean, overall, when you look at these two teams, it's just very hard to see why the Suns shouldn't beat them even without Devin Booker and Bradley Beal.